Share Shootout brought to you by Lion of Africa Insurance, insuring South Africa's future.
You're tuned to the meanest stock picking show on television, Share Shootout League, right here on CNBC Africa. First in business worldwide, I'm Bruce Whitfield. Now, is the board of HCI aware that its core business is news, not being the news? And while on HCI, just how many resignations will it take before ETV accepts political interference in its news coverage? And should Oscar Pistorius consider selling his version of events for a book deal or movie rights to help pay his enormous and growing legal bill? Now, we don't know the answers to any of these stirring questions. What we do know is the league is fast running out of matches for some players. To prove this, broadcasters on the Twitter streets, just check out how the hashtags decided on the match between Chris the Scot and Matthew, who goes by the name of Shytown. Chris the Scot ruled the votes on Twitter, and now he sits in comfortable third place on the log. Unfortunately for poor Shytown, the grim picture is almost painted now. Look at him, right down there at the bottom of the league. It's a very sad place. He hasn't won a match since his first game. Maybe Shytown and Nao the One will be having a little battle of their own. Who will finish on the least number of points? It's like playing golf, I suspect. But remember, this is your game as it is for the players. You're the third umpire. You are the ultimate decider as to who stays and who goes, who will walk away as the champion. All you've got to do is follow at SSO League and tweet any of the stock pickers hashtags. It's as easy as playing Jacob Zuma's Nkandla Home Improvement Bill. Back to the match at hand. Our first stock picker is on a break from his honeymoon. It was always going to be difficult, wasn't it, when you enter a competition knowing that you're going to get married and that the competition is going to go after your wedding. But what Gary Booysen has done is postponed his honeymoon. Is that a beginner's error? Well, our second stock picker is here to dish out marital advice. I give you second and fourth on the log.
My name's Gary Booysen, Head of Trading with Vunani Private Clients. At the moment, I'm experimenting with enhanced alpha trading. You almost go and find value, good quality companies, and then pick them up, hold them for the long term. As long as it's got solid fundamentals, you put hedges in place to try and get that little bit of enhanced performance. So it's a philosophy, new philosophy, but we're trying it out. So it's going to be interesting. I think lots of prep work. I mean, it's a very tough show because you never know what the other contestants are going to do. But we're going to have to really go and dig out some good opportunities for the viewers. And yeah, I think also throw in a few curveballs, try and find something, some of the more obscure stocks that are showing value. So far, my biggest competition has probably been Mike Harworth and Sasha. They've always been tough to beat. I think I have a shot at it. I think maybe the track record has been fair so far, but it's definitely going to be tough. I just hope the audience is going to base their decisions on the quality and the performance of the shares, not just on the explanations.
Stand by for action.
My name is Alexander Naryshkine, but Sasha is short for Alexander. Call me Sasha, please. Everything from answering the phones. Goldfield? Yes, I've heard of that company. To attending to client email. To make payments, everything. We like to answer our own phones because when someone phones, strangely they want to speak to us. Ignore lots of the noise in the short term, buy the quality and stick with it for as long as possible. Get inside Bruce's head just to try and confuse him as much as possible. Yeah, and act like Carl Icahn. Outrageous. Like, this board is pathetic. I've never seen such a useless board, when of course it's someone else's pick. Yeah, that's how I think I'm gonna win. Yeah, but you mustn't tell my competitors. Warren Buffett. No, I'm kidding. It has to be Bruce Whitfield. He's way too clever for everybody on this show, so if I can beat him, I'll be happy. I just need to beat Bruce, then I think I'll win this league, yeah.
Both Sasha Naryshkine, who goes by #Bucks from Vestact, and Gary Booysen, who's running dog from Vunani Private Clients, are leaders of the pack. But first, we've got to have house rules. Both players have to pre-pick 3 shares. Only I know what they hold. You know this by now, surely. Each must pick at least one of their other players' stocks, and each has got 30 seconds to argue for a stock pick. We'll give them a range of shares from the JSE, also an offshore allowance. They get 1 international stock per round, should they choose to use it. But before we rumble, Gary Booysen, you took time out from your honeymoon. Is that the wedding suit? Have you even taken the wedding suit off since you got married?
No, thank you, Sasha.
Yeah, I would, but then I'm reaching across, Sasha. You got married on Saturday.
Yes.
It's Tuesday. You
Friday.
postponed your honeymoon.
I'm sort of following Shapiro's advice.
David Shapiro, what's his advice?
Work really, really hard.
Yes.
Then you can be married for 40 years, and really in time it's only 2.
That's a really good idea. So David Shapiro has given you that advice. He's been he's been happily married for 40 years. His wife has been incredibly tolerant for 40 years. Okay, so that is his secret to a good marriage. What's your secret?
Saying yes, dear.
Okay, so give me some context. I mean, here's Gary taking a break from his honeymoon.
Yes.
So that's very bold. He's going to Mauritius on his honeymoon. Are there particular strategies that one should encompass when one is in Mauritius on honeymoon? Because you did that, didn't you?
No, I didn't go to Mauritius. Went to Thailand. But
The same
thing.
principle.
Same thing. My best man told me at my wedding that on those first few weeks, you must look out the window curtains like this.
First thing in the morning.
First thing in the morning. So
First thing in the morning.
Sorry, honey, terrible day outside.
We have to stay inside.
We have to stay inside.
Noted. Okay.
Noted.
And then if she says, but darling, I want to go and swim with the dolphins again. For the third time.
Then
What
you
should Gary
say,
do at this point?
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
It's going to be such a long marriage. What have you got in your hand?
I've got the real running dog. This is my running partner. Because I actually wanted the hashtag running dog.
Yes.
Believe it or not, Gary had taken it already.
Well, let's see who takes the points. I mean,
There we go.
you're both very handsome.
Running
Nice
dog.
wedding gift. You can frame that and stick it on your wall. Congratulations, Gary. Thank you for taking time out of the honeymoon. It's very
You
brave
can fold
of
it
you.
up as much as you want.
It's very brave of you to have done so. Very courageous. So I think we should make you go first, frankly, because it's going to be the last time you get to go first in anything. So Gary Booysen from Vunani Private Clients. I'm interested in this pick. This is a company. It's worth 10 billion rand. It's been in fast food for its entire nearly 50-year existence. The last 15 years have had a particularly good growth trajectory, courtesy of a man called Kevin Hedderwick, who came out of SAB Miller and running pubs, and then came to run famous brands. He's made the brands. He's made them famous. He's been acquisitive. Recently, doing a deal with Thrups. He wants to go into lifestyle, whatever that means. He's got Norman Adamy, who he's old boss from SAB, on his board now. Santi Botha, ex of ABSA and MTN, the brand queen of South Africa, is the chairperson of the famous brands board. But it's blooming expensive. In 30 seconds, tell me why it's worth buying.
I think you've summed up a lot of why it's worth buying, but it's not as expensive as it used to be. I mean, the PE's dropped down significantly. It's only trading on about a 23. Normally trades on about a 28. And I mean, we saw the results again, last week. Just fantastic. I mean, revenue up 14%, earnings per share up. You're also looking at about 18%. And what really came through in those is their supply chain management is just giving them the advantage over the Spurs and the Tastes and all that. That's the supply chain is just so strong, and they keep on getting sort of cost benefits out of that and keep on making money.
That's fine, but in order to do this, you've got to sell a lot of pizzas, you've got to sell a lot of hamburgers and a lot of fish and chips. Fishy chips. But you've got to do it consistently, and they are seeing a bit of a plateau in terms of their sales, and where the kicker comes through is in the supply chain management. But when you're as efficient as you can be, then you've got to be selling more pizzas and fish and chips again. And isn't that the risk in this investment, Sasha?
Well, they also bought Mr. Biggs, remember, in Nigeria.
Yep.
49% of a 174 store outfit, I think. And they opened a pastry. So one of the first things they did was open a pastry factory in Lagos. Same old model, trying to replicate it there. Look, I mean, Gary doesn't really need to convince me on this one.
Really?
Really, yeah. I mean, they got a dividend cover. I'll tell you why they trade on actually quite a high multiples, because they got a relatively low dividend cover. So whatever they earn, they pay out, because remember, they've got a strong core set of shareholders there, including the family. So I think they're going to continue to reward you, and there'll be a dividend underpin whilst they continue to grow quickly. And remember that in fast food, Kevin Hedderwick once told me that for every unit of GDP in the developing world, you get something like 2.5 units of GDP in fast food growth expansion.
What about competition, Gary?
Well, I mean, okay, just last thing on that. Also, remember they're trading in a cautionary at the moment, so they're still going to be acquisitive. They've got 2,500 stores, and that's going to grow through acquisitions. But yeah, as for the competition, I mean, you're looking at probably. I mean, there's no question. Every results announcement, they point out it's a fiercely competitive sector. But I mean, if you look at the difference between them and Spur and them and Taste, it's that supply chain. That really is the difference between them.
I think you've convinced Sasha. I think
You
you
don't
can.
I don't need to convince him. Yeah.
You'll take it.
He's there.
I'll take it.
You're just being nice just because he got married and you feel sorry for him.
No, I don't feel sorry for him, Bruce. You can
Because
never-
it's the most joyous union of his life.
exactly.
Yes.
Hurrah!
Hurrah!
Well
Yay.
done, Gary.
Yay. Well done, Mrs. Gary.
Yay.
Has she taken your name?
She has taken my name.
Oh boy. She
Another
must
one.
be nice.
She must be nice.
She must be nice.
Yeah.
Your
Must
wife
be-
must be really nice.
And yours too. Yeah.
Oh no, mine's spectacularly nice.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And wonderful.
And beautiful.
And especially beautiful.
And a good mother.
And a great mother.
Yes.
Learning so much.
But
from
she
you.
doesn't smoke.
Mine neither.
And does your wife smoke?
Doesn't.
So why are you choosing tobacco? 30 seconds.
Because it's a short.
Okay.
British American Tobacco. So I don't care what you're selling. When you see volumes in decline year after year after year, you're going to get to a tipping point. So there's going to be more regulation. You know, they got great margins. I'll give them that. But there are only so many shares that you can buy back till eventually you're at a point in the cycle where the regulatory is too much and your core consumer is under pressure. And I think lifestyle healthcare awareness is rising. So British American Tobacco for me is a
Stinks.
no-go.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. A short on British American Tobacco. How brave are you feeling, Gary? I mean, well, look, you got married, so you're feeling very
I'm
brave.
feeling brave, but not brave enough to short British American Tobacco. And also, it's a difficult one to short because it's an inward listing, remember, as well. So, but yeah, BAT, I mean, obviously, you've seen the share price come down quite significantly recently. And I think that's probably more to do with QE ending. And I mean,
What?
guys trade
That's outrageous.
Yeah, guys trade British American
QE
Tobacco
end.
like they trade a bond, because it is. It's just, it's so stable. It's not even, it's hardly even an equity, you know what I mean? So it's difficult for me to short that because it's an incredibly blue chip company. I mean, I hear what you're saying about regulation, but at the same time, regulation, that's a very malleable thing. Yes, I mean, advertising regulation is there, but I mean, do you really think that one day the government's it's just going to be prohibition on cigarettes?
No,
Or
I don't think that.
Do you think
but
that people will still be allowed to smoke
I don't
indefinitely?
care what you're selling. If you're selling 3% per annum less than last year, it's a
But you're charging
poor
6%
business.
more than last year, and you've
There's
got...
a tipping point, Bruce, and you've
What
seen
is that
it
tipping point?
you've seen it in Ireland, in Finland, in
What about
Norway,
these
in
electric
Sweden.
cigarettes, though?
Yeah, there's starting to go more and more regulation on those things too. So,
Yes.
and that's a once-off purchase. That's not something that you
But
buy.
the
a lot.
addicts will continue to smoke, Gary.
Yeah, I think so. Like,
Can I tell you what's more addictive, Bruce? Food. Because that you participate in 3 times a day at least.
Oh, cigarettes, some people participate in 20 times a day.
I would accept a hold. I'd accept let's not put it in a portfolio, but to actively try and make money off BAT
He hasn't learned.
falling,
Either
I
gotta
think
say
is
yes
very
or no.
dangerous. Sasha, would you really actually put a short on there?
I
and
did
expect,
have one.
and expect to
pretty
make
recently,
money?
yeah. Did have one and pretty recently.
Okay, so you're intent on shorting British American Tobacco. You
Not
ain't
for
going anywhere near as short.
No,
Shooting it down.
Shooting you down.
yeah?
You're shot
Absolutely.
down on that particular front.
Thank
Right,
you.
Gary
Well,
Booysen.
Good for you.
Let's
better
move
ones.
on to share number 2, please. Oh, my word, it's going to be a long show. So Woolworths is another one, which is a portfolio favourite. It's been pretty robust recently. In 30 seconds, why do you still like it?
Woolworths, I mean, obviously this David Jones acquisition, I think...
Suit.
Well, I think just half the suit. But obviously the David Jones acquisition is now biggest retailer in the Southern Hemisphere. And, obviously there was some dilution there. And I think investors really punished the share unfairly. And that's why you've seen it come down probably a little bit more than it should have. If you look at a sum of the parts model, discounted cash flow model, that should be trading on about sort of 83, 84. For us, that's a 16 to 17% appreciation still. For us, definitely a buy.
Okay, there we go. We'll take it. Thank
he
you very
used his
much
30
on
seconds
on
really
Woolworths,
well,
and he did. But since he got married, he's learned
He's
to
been on the shorter caps.
he's learned to confine his comments to shorter periods.
Yes,
So-
and another bit of advice.
Yes.
You need to be firm when making a decision. No wishy-washy. Just make the decision.
like, yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Right, got you. That is the only decision you have to make.
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Yes.
Okay, Woolworths. Do we like it?
Yeah, still like it,
Do you like it enough?
At 74, 75 rand? Absolutely.
Okay, but now here we've got a situation where you've accepted famous brands with open hands.
Yeah.
Are you going to be accepting Woolworths as well?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I have it on good authority that Gary will probably accept one of my next 2 shares. And if he doesn't, then I don't know. I mean, he should have accepted the first one.
Sure you will.
But okay, so so Woolworths here, market cap of 75 billion rand, Australia
Yes.
expansion. There is some risk in that in terms of management attention, blah blah, etc. All of that sort of stuff. You're not at all concerned that Woolworths is not fully priced right now.
No, because remember when they bought Country Road back in the late 90s, Country Road was similarly bashed up to what David Jones is now. Now, David Jones's sales have been going sideways for 5 odd years, and that's being generous. David Jones is comparable to a Macy's or to a Bloomingdale's. You know, not really the Studford's model here. Maybe that's also being a little bit too generous. But I think, you know, that model is pretty scalable, and it's a luxury. They sell luxury items inside of those stores. So notwithstanding the fact that I think the Australian consumer will be a little bit pressurized, probably state revenues will be more pressurized, there's still a lot of people who want to live in Australia, particularly from the east. I think they'll start attracting a lot of attention. That will be good for David Jones.
So you're accepting a second share. This is like his wedding present, his post-wedding
yeah,
wedding
it's
present.
a wedding present.
There we go. So you've taken both famous brands and Woolworths this evening.
Yes.
You're accepted on both fronts there, Gary Booysen. This is
Obviously
easy.
picking good shares.
Hey?
today.
Or he's
Homework.
just gone soft.
Gary
He's done good homework.
Done good homework.
Very good homework. Okay then, Sasha Naryshkine. Here's another perennial favourite of yours, good dividend yield. Santi Botha used to work there. It's not Barclays Africa. It's MTN in 30 seconds. Why?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the last frontier from an investment level has to be the continent that we live on. So they've grown their subscriber base. They had 3 odd million, I think, in 2001 to 219, nearly 220 million. You know, obviously Iran is a bit of a question mark, but the Iranians are softening their stance. So I think there's huge potential upside there. They just released the 3G network there. ARPUs are flattening in Nigeria. So notwithstanding the fact they're running into regulation there, I think ARPUs across the continent are going to start leveling off, and then you see big data growth.
Big data growth. So it's not happened yet. And that's the concern, isn't it, Gary?
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
You don't need to practice on
it's,
us.
Yeah, no, I accept that one. I think, yeah, look, MTN's one of our favourites. It really is. I mean, obviously, Sasha's mentioned that, you know, their regulatory issues in Nigeria, but those also, they've been going on forever. I mean, they're still the dominant player in Nigeria, and I mean, if you read sort of between the lines in their last financial statement, I mean, they've put things in place, and the talks are going very well with the regulator to smooth things over. I don't know if that means they're going to start doing some Turkcell bribery things, but it's, yeah, I think a fantastic company in the right markets, and number one or two in most of its countries.
Okay, you look at the radical restructuring that MTN is undergoing right now, cutting half of its 800 managers in South Africa. It suggests it's not the most nimble in terms of managing its internal resources. That's not a problem.
Bruce, who are you competing against? You know, across the continent, guess how many fixed lines there are? Guess. Across the whole continent, we've got 1 billion people. There are 12 million fixed lines. We are in a unique situation here on this continent where we've completely skipped the fixed line generation. So what happened in Western Europe and North America with regards to the people offering the fixed line data services making a comeback, unfortunately, you know, and then you're dealing against state-owned entities who are trying to, you know, forget about that in a South African sense.
So you'll take MTN off his hands then?
Both hands. Yeah.
Absolutely, both hands. Taking MTN. There we go. Very good.
Huh?
That was very nifty.
Shift.
Very nifty. Okay, so when we come back from the break, it's more marital advice for Gary Booysen. So far, it is work really hard so that you hardly ever see each other and your marriage will be long and happy. From Sasha's perspective, all you've got to do is say yes, dear, a lot. Gary Booysen has gone yes, dear, to Sasha's MTN. He did shoot down British American Tobacco, however. And for Gary Booysen, who has picked both famous brands in Woolworths tonight, Sasha Naryshkine has generously accepted both. So who will lose grin and who will lose their grin? Oh, I love the rhymes on this show. Don't you know? Will it be the newlywed or the father of two? Will we take a quick break or will we see you in bed? No, that's not on the script. We'll see you in a moment. You're watching Shootout League, the only league in the world without coaches. But we do have 3 married blokes on this here. So there is Bruce, who's been married an awfully long time, Sasha, who feels like he's been married for an awfully long time, and Gary's just about to learn what a prison sentence is. This is matchday number 28, and we are edging closer and closer to the final 4. And your votes can change the look of the league. Follow at SSO League and vote for either hashtag Running Dog, the real Running Dog, that of course is Gary, or Bucks, who is Sasha. The shares so far this evening, what we have seen coming out of Sasha's portfolio: British American Tobacco Tobacco going short on British American Tobacco and MTN going long. The short on British American Tobacco shot down, but MTN accepted, and both of Gary's famous brands and Woolies shares have been accepted. So let's get to the final round of the battle. The last two stock picks of the evening from our stock pickers. So, Sasha and Naryshkine, any more marital advice for Gary as we go to the close of the show?
Yeah, remember the date that you got married. You must remember that.
But everybody knows that.
Not everybody. When did you get married, Bruce?
I got married a long time ago.
When?
What, like time, day?
Date, time, everything, Bruce.
Date, time, everything. It was the 10th of August.
Okay.
Yes, it was the 10th
What
of
year?
August.
What year?
1996.
Very good.
That's a long time ago.
It's very, very
I won a
long
prize.
time ago. Yes.
My wife wins a bigger prize.
18 years. She's done well. Yeah.
No, well, I've done well.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
Yeah, poor thing, yes.
And yeah, I think it was 1:45 in the afternoon in the Morden Registry Office at the bottom end of the Northern Line of London. It's prettier than it sounds. It is prettier than it sounds.
Well done, Bruce.
Hey, where was your ceremony, Gary?
Chefston Gardens.
Oh, lovely. Isn't that nice? And where was yours, Sasha?
In Pennington on the south coast.
Albert?
No, in the south coast of
I
KZN.
would have thought that you would have got married in the Eastern Cape in your old school chapel, because that's the kind of thing you people do, isn't it?
I don't have that many friends. I mean, there's too many people to fit inside there.
This is true.
Have a small
You
place.
could have hired the kids to come in and they could have filled up the place. But anyway, let's move on to your final stock picks, please.
Yes.
Search me, I have no idea. But why have you planted the seed in my brain? Genetically modified food. It's poison. And you're buying the shares. Monsanto, 30 seconds. Tell me why.
Well, Malthus was completely wrong. We didn't run out of land, nor did we, and we expanded to over 7 billion people. Population continues to grow, population growth. So it's the people who are going to be selling I got no problem with genetically modified food, because the way I view it, we've got more moral obligations to feed bigger populations globally. And in fact, genetically modified rice changed the prospects of Asia. So enabling farmers to be more productive, produce more on the same ground, for me, it's a great story.
I've been eating genetically modified maize all my life, and this had no effect on me.
Can I just add one thing?
Yes.
There? I gave Gary two.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
You're a good person.
I'm a good person. Bruce, I spoke to a farmer who's in his mid-70s. He farms somewhere in the Winterton area.
Yes.
And he gave me the lowdown. He said, you know what? Our first job, once we had got out of agricultural college, was to pick the kernels off the corn. They were the good ones. Now, so humans have been genetically modifying the next crop. This is just speeding the process up.
There we go. And also, you would have seen his yields go from 2 tons a hectare to 6 and 7 tons a hectare with similar conditions. There we go. Monsanto. Will you genetically modify this pig?
Yeah, good yield on that company. I'll accept it. I don't know that much about Monsanto, but the whole genetically modified story I think is a good one. I've heard if we didn't have any genetically modified food at the moment, we'd have mass starvation across the planet at the moment. It's something that has to happen and is going to happen. And not only that is, if you have to use, X amount of arable land to produce food, now you can use less, and then that frees up land for other things. So I think it's a good story.
You'll take the Monsanto pick?
I'll buy it, yeah.
Oh, they'd be so nice to each other.
He took 2 of mine, so I'll take 2 of his.
It's all the marriage
Let's see
stuff.
if he takes 3 of mine then.
Okay, well, let's see whether or not he does, because he may very well. Click here and choose your next share, Gary Booysen. In 30 seconds, search me. I got confused earlier. Search me if I know what your share is. Google. It's infinity. It's Google in 30 seconds.
Yeah, Google. If you look at the big tech plays, Google's got to be right up there. If you look at the S&P over the last sort of 25 years, Google's returned something like 111% for shareholders since it started. And if you look at it, it's honestly one of the top 10 S&P companies that manages to grow its earnings between 15 and 20% on a compound annual growth rate. So it's fantastic. You look at it though, the stories that it's doing, the R&D that it invests in, contact lenses that are going to be able to tell you whether you're getting glaucoma, all sorts of exciting things coming up.
Okay, is it exciting enough for you, this, Sasha? I've got a feeling that you're going for 3 out of 3.
Well, remember that, some people call it a one-trick pony, but that one trick is very, very, very
It's
good.
very clever.
Very, very good, yeah. So, and they've got 40 other businesses, including, the Google Glass was going to be big, and suddenly,
It just looked stupid.
it faded a little.
Yeah.
It looked stupid. It just faded a little bit. And they've now announced, last week, some, magnetized ions to wander around your body to identify cancer long before it's even detected. So I call Google the General Electric of the 21st century.
Oh, catchy. I like it.
Catchy. Why? Because it attracts quality innovation
And
that's relevant in this. And they allow you to go sit in a pod and, think about it. Don't think about and that movie with Matthew McConaughey and Vince Vaughn. What a fabulous movie.
Haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
Small kids.
Well, I've got small kids too. Mine are slightly older.
Yes, but you neglect your children. Don't ever do that, Gary.
Try and remember.
But I think he's going your way. But the Google story is a compelling one. Google is managing the way we live more and more. It's very big brotherish. Is that ever going to count against it?
Well, I mean, you've got to back a company's slogans, don't be evil.
Don't
be evil. And no.
They don't have offices in North Korea.
Not yet.
No, there's no question it's an incredibly powerful company. But no, I think, obviously what Sasha was talking about earlier, the micro nano organisms.
You'll take it, Sasha.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I'll take it.
3 out of 3, Sasha.
Well, it depends how you play this game, Bruce. Because remember in the old days when you played this game, you decided who won, and if you hated, Gary would definitely win.
Gary would win because he's a nice guy who's just got married and he needs a leg up and he's taken time out of his honeymoon.
But Twitter decides.
Twitter does decide. So Twitter, please will you decide? Running Dog needs to win to justify the early break from his honeymoon, and he needs to say to his wife, you see, it was worthwhile. I know that I neglected you, my dear, on a Tuesday evening, first Tuesday evening of our honeymoon, but I'll make it up to you over the next 40 years, as David Shapiro has taught me how. Bucks just wants to prove to his daughters that height isn't everything. For whatever reason you use the hashtag, we will count it as a vote, be it a tweet or a retweet. We'll be counting those until Sunday midnight. You follow at SSO League, you use the hashtag. We'll be back on Tuesday with matchday number 29, right here on CNBC Africa at 8:30. Until next week, do stay cunning and think of Gary opening those curtains and lying to his wife so early in the marriage. Good night.